The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. Power to the people, baby. I'm bringing the 60s to the prog corner today. Why? Well, when I think about what got me into prog rock, I always think about the LPs that were sitting around the house. Dave Brubeck's Time Out. We had Zappa, We're Only in It for the Money, and the Beatles records, and the Stones, and the Who, and Miles Davis, and all that kind of stuff. But, I was a little kid in the 60s, so I really wasn't listening to a lot of long players. Honestly, I was listening to 45s like crazy. I'd lock myself in my dad's ham shack. Yeah, he was a ham radio operator, W9UCR. And I used to just sit in there for hours and listen to records. I'm starting with 1966 because that seems to be where a lot of the songs that I really like originated from, even though I was probably listening to them more in 67 and 68, whatever. But 66 was a really strange year. Indira Gandhi as elected Prime Minister of India. Ronald Reagan begins his political career by getting elected governor of California. The Soviets land on the moon. The Moors murder trials in the UK. You had a whole slew of new countries born in 1966, Barbados, Lesotho, Guyana, Botswana. The Supreme Court ruled in the famous Miranda ruling in 1966. England wins the World Cup, but most importantly to us music fans, Bob Dylan had his famous motorcycle injury in 1966, and John Lennon said that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, and then they went ahead and did their final concert later on in the year, Candlestick Park in San Francisco. So a lot of stuff was happening in 66, but I'm going to focus on the 12 singles that got this little kid's musical brain going and try to figure out if there's a through line to these early singles that I was listening to and my proclivity for prog rock in later years. We're going to discuss that later. But at number 12, we're going to Madrid, Spain, and it's Los Bravos and Black is Black. What a cool song. It hit number 4, came out in August. Peaked at number 4 in October. The lead singer was a guy named Mike Kogel, who was a German guy, so he had to learn all the lyrics phonetically. Interesting prog connection here is after he quit the band, his replacement was a guy named Tony Anderson. That's John Anderson's brother. The reason this song, you don't hear it a whole lot, is Clear Channel has banned this song. None of the Clear Channel stations are allowed to play this song because who knows why, because they're right-wing crazy people. At number 11, it's Bobby, Hebb, and Sonny. Yeah, this song is everywhere now, man. I hear it in a million different commercials, but I used to love this single. Bobby Hebb, such a great songwriter. He wrote this thing the day after the JFK assassination. His brother gets shot, and so he's writing this song in honor of his brother. Bobby's parents were both blind musicians. He wrote this song in 1963 and recorded it in February, and it was released in June. It hit number 2. It's just such a great song. At number 10, yeah, you can tell I was a little kid. It's Snoopy versus the Red Baron. I used to listen to this thing nonstop. It's just one of those great novelty records. The Royal Guardsmen, a band from Florida. I guess they're from the Ocala and Tampa area. Song was written by Phil Gernhardt and Dick Holler and was released at the tail end of 1966, so it actually peaked in 1967. There's references to Hang On Sloopy here by the McCoys, and obviously the whole Snoopy thing. Charles Schultz was not amused. He was not entertained. He sued them and told them, cease and desist. At number 9, one of the most famous songs of all time. It's the Trogs and it's Wild Thing. This thing hit number 1 in the US. Yeah, it was a cover. It was actually originally done by the Wild Ones in 1965. This song's written by Chip Taylor, who had one other mega hit under his belt. He also wrote Angel of the Morning, which was a hit for both Shaggy and Juice Newton. This thing was released in April of 1966, and I believe it's the only song to ever hit number one while being available on two different labels because of some kind of contractual dispute. This thing was released on both Atco and Fontana. Kind of weird, but yeah. And even Johnny Depp's playing this song on the new fragrance commercial he's doing for Sauvage. Yeah, that's a tough one, Johnny. You're awesome. At number 8, it's Winchester Cathedral by the new Vaudeville band. This was a Jeff Stevens group. He actually formed a band because of this song. When they recorded it, he used session musicians, so they decided they were going to go out on the road because the song was such a big hit. Yeah, it hit number 1. It actually won a Grammy. This song was everywhere in 1966, so much so that Peter Grant, before he became Led Zeppelin's manager, was these guys' manager. Somebody thought these guys were going to be huge. Another side note is it might be the only number 1 hit ever with a bassoon in it, and that's pretty cool. At number 7, we're going to Saginaw, Michigan. It's Question Mark and the Mysterians with 96 Tears. What a great song this thing is, man. Just so much fun. You're going back and forth from G minor to G major, and it's got that do-do-do-do, that little hook there. It is not a Farfisa organ. I thought for years it was. It's actually a Vox Continental. Rudy Martinez is the lead singer. His brother was in the band also. Rudy called himself Question Mark. He said he was from Mars, and he said that he had walked with the dinosaurs. He's a weird cat, but what a terrific song. Was this the first punk rock song? Maybe. I don't know. At number 6. The Rolling Stones never released a better song than Paint It Black. Came out May 7th, 1966. It was a single-only, non-LP song in Britain. But as you notice with the Rolling Stones UK and US versions, they're always so different. The label did put it on the US version of Aftermath, but Paint It Black is just so great. You can tell that they were, really paying attention to what was going on. Ravi Shankar's sitar playing, obviously a huge influence on Brian Jones. Even though this song was written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, the Brian Jones influence is just everywhere, all over this track. Man, what would Brian Jones have done if he would have stayed with us? Just such a genius. At number 5. We're taking the last train to Clarksville with the Monkees. Yeah, this little kid was a huge fan of the Monkees. I used to really look forward to, going home after school and watching the Monkees back then. And Last Train to Clarksville was their first single. It came out in August. The TV show came out in September, and the first album came out in October of 1966. It's obviously written by the great Boyce and Hart combo. Mickey Dolenz vocals are just incredible. This is the first time the world had heard his great pipes, and if he's not my favorite singer of all time, I don't know why not, because I just love Mickey Dolenz's voice. People have compared this song to Paperback.Writer, the jangly little pop riff, and, I kind of get the guitar hook being similar to, but I don't hear it. I really don't. At number 4, yeah, you knew this was going to have to make the list. It's the Pocket Symphony. It's Brian Wilson's masterpiece, even though Mike Love wrote the lyrics, apparently. It's Good Vibrations, and this was one of the very first, expansive, multi-tracked, multi-sectional type of songs. It was released October 10th, 1966. It was obviously supposed to be part of, that whole Smile album, which never happened. So it did end up on Smiley Smile, but Good Vibrations just continues what the Beach Boys were doing with Pet Sounds. And there was a little bit of competition going on between the Beatles and the Beach Boys, and Good Vibrations set the bar right there. And the Beatles Beatles had to respond. They absolutely had to. A couple months later, they would be hitting the studio to start recording Sgt. Pepper's, and I guarantee you Good Vibrations was a big motivator for them. Apparently, there were 90 hours of tape that they used recording in 4 different studios. It's just absolutely incredible. One of the greatest songs ever written. And yeah, obviously it hit number 1. At number 3, I've got Donovan Phillips Lecht. I guess that's his real name, Donovan. He was the very first signing when Clive Davis took over CBS Records. He was the first guy that he signed in 1965. And Donovan's Mellow Yellow was the song that really got me. Again, I'm a little kid. Earlier in that year, Sunshine Superman hit number 1. Mellow Yellow only hit number 2. With its allusions to an electric banana. I think I know what he's talking about with that, but primarily the song is about drug use and the story that you could take dried banana peels and roll them up and smoke them and get high from that. I guess Donovan heard that from Country Joe McDonald, and that's why he decided to write a song about it. You can hear Paul McCartney on this song somewhere in the background. And the great Donovan, let's not forget that he taught John Lennon how to fingerpick. So Dear Prudence is a direct result of Donovan's influence in the world. What a great song. At number 2, it's the aforementioned Paperback.Writer, released in May 30th, 1966. The record company wanted a single after Rubber Soul. They were getting tired of waiting for Revolver to come out. These guys were just showing off by this point. I mean, a couple months earlier, they had just dropped the Day Tripper We Can Work It Out single, and now this drops with Rain on the B-side. Come on, man. These guys were just throwing away songs that other bands would die for. It's just ridiculous. This is the absolute peak of where the Beatles were, their songwriting prowess, just incredible. Paperback.Writer, what a great song. But I've got one at number 1 that's a little above it, and we're going to way up there, 8 Miles High, baby. It's the Byrds, released in March of 1966. This is a Gene Clark song. Right before he left the band, he wrote this thing. So this song made it onto their Fifth Dimension album, but I believe this is like the only song that he had any kind of real contribution in. David Crosby, Roger McGuinn. The Byrds were amazing. And 8 Miles High, what a great track. Maybe the first psychedelic single ever released. They were kind of a folk rock band, but now they were doing all this weird droney stuff with what sounded like sitars, but there is not a sitar in 8 Miles High, I just found out. But even the critics, when reviewing this thing, had to come up with new monikers to try to describe it. The Village Voice reviewer came up with the term raga rock to describe this music. You can't describe this music. It's just one of those songs that, every year or two, you have a song that changes everything, changes the whole direction of popular music. 8 Miles High was definitely that song, and that's why I have it at my number 1 spot. So how did these 12 songs influence my musical journey, my path towards prog? I don't know, but we're going to do 1967 tomorrow, so maybe we'll get some more answers then. But I love you guys, and I'll see you then. Peace out.